Alright, everyone. Welcome back. It's time for more lawyering. We have just made it to episode 2.
We have proven ourselves not guilty because we didn't shoot someone.
We didn't shoot someone.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
What?
Yeah, we got cutscenes.
9th of January, 6:37 a.m. On board the steamship Voria.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes.
Oh my
I
god.
presume you must have heard of me.
Yeah, that's his name, all right. That's how this game didn't get sued.
Oh my god. My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Am I about to get blamed for another murder? Oh god damn it, I am, aren't I? Wait, I can't move! Ah! What the? Why am I in handcuffs?
I believe this is still you.
No, there's question marks. It would say Ryunosuke if it were still me. But, so you wake up now,
Oh no, it's this guy. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. Bask in my terrible Russian accent.
There it is.
It's so bad. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man.
You... you found me then.
Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. I'm so sorry.
Oh, if there's anybody Russian watching this, I'm so sorry. We're so sorry. Oh, that's the episode title.
You're so sorry. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, hmm?
Sorry.
Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, hmm?
No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma?
Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses.
What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body?
Please. Do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep.
Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. Oh my god, that's a lot of O's. No! Kazuma, it was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble?
Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study?
It's really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die.
Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look.
Ow! Ow! God damn! Hey! Honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body.
Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you.
I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway.
They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure.
What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady?
From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean?
From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away.
No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this.
I suppose so.
Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze.
Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it.
Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper?
What?
Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside.
I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together.
We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer.
No, I'm not a murderer.
You said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes.
No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend?
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I could do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury, then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably, that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... there was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me, too. Trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? you said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, no, no! That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you?
It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself.
Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious.
You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that.
But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer.
Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there?
Well, no, definitely not.
But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then...
Then what?
Nothing. Forget it.
Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then, it was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. I know Kazuma-sama. I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Oh boy! This is great. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really. Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me! I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. The trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Ozma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ah! I can't take this! Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. You can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No! I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do, then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. And I'm dead. What the... That was a Susato takedown. A Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. And I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. You expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Huh? Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Sasato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. Don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using left button, right button, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air could circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. Well, what if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room? Surely it should be connected to the outside. It's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked all about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? It sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No. I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. Didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means... what, he was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. Could be a valuable clue. And I'm upside down again. That's out of the question! What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Or Kazuma-sama. Don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? I gotta prove I'm not a murderer. Again. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? No, I've been living in a wardrobe for 2 weeks! Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Cosmo's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Dusato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me! Do you have a moment?
Shh. This is a critical point in my investigation.
Maybe I should leave him alone. Seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you.
Ah! What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's desk just now?
Ah, I see. Fascinating.
Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me.
Oh yes, everything is crystal clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized.
His deductions have crystallized.
You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry? What?
And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
Oh, well, that's true at least. But how?
How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? I'm not doing a full British accent for this guy, I'm sorry. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower.
The Crystal Tower is in frickin' Final Fantasy! And I don't want to blow it up! There would be people who'd kill me for that.
And when the beribboned document of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too! Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes.
Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you?
Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name?
I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Cosmo-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution, too. Shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way and I'm upside down again. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous, yeah.
How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not?
Well, yes, maybe.
Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that,
Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation.
Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right!
Oh god, no. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No!
Yes!
No!
Yes!
I hate this. I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over.
I don't know who you are.
The inimitable Sherlock Holmes! Original the character, do not steal.
Original character, do not steal. Oh no. So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes?
The very same, the inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. The reason why they have to put his name like that, they can't just, call him Sherlock Holmes, is 'cause otherwise, Capcom would get sued by the estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yep.
But in Japanese release, they could call him Sherlock Holmes because Japan has much looser copyright laws.
Yeah. Do you know this man, Sasada-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this?
This guy's great.
So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again?
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I see. You're German? Herr Locke, was it?
No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Ranced Magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then?
Indeed I am.
And you've read so many of your own stories you've started to think you really are a detective?
Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for.
I'm worse!
Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine.
You have a biographer, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Dr. Wilson.
Not to be confused with, the Dr. Wilson that was murdered in the first case. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I am returning from Asia having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
Science? Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in a subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All of these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago.
How can he look me in the eye and claim that?
So you see, I have a term both for observation and for deduction. Fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among the... Oh, that's
Nope.
you.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh.
The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh, really? 2 facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning?
Ah yes, but first, let us be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand, but what were they?
Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows.
Oh my god, this game would be half as long if Herlock Sholmes... Oh, you need to...
He needs to what?
He needs to pull his head out of his own ass.
Oh, you've got an entire game to deal with him.
Oh boy.
He's not so bad, though. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Garderobe, that is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazuma was Russian, was he?
Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided to be wrong, not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian... Oh my god, and people are just like, oh, clearly he's correct because he's saying it with confidence.
There's a reason for everything, Jason.
Oh, this hurts me inside because this is
It'll all make sense, don't worry.
It's so close to what reality is like, where people will agree with anything said stupidly as long as it's said confidently enough.
You'll recall Susato said that she imports the magazine. She's kind of a big fan of the guy.
Ah. I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong.
I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Yes, Cosma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah, thank you. No, I'm not alright. I woke up to find my best friend dead. I'm being accused for killing him, which is the... If I had a $10 bill for every time I got accused of killing somebody that I didn't, I'd have enough for a meal at Red Lobster, which isn't much, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Nice.
Photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that?
Oh yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think?
Certainly, if it interests you. I don't know what that says in Russian.
How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before things you concluded about me, I mean?
Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in.
I fucking hate this man. So much. I hate him so much.
You'll come around eventually, don't worry.
He's
great.
I will dislike him less when he stops accusing my character of something that hasn't been done.
Don't.
Like, I'm trying to separate myself from this, but it resonates with me so hard because, like, when I get accused of doing something that I did not do, and then when it's, like, feasible that I didn't do it, and they double down, that's, like, my second biggest pet peeve. The second fastest way to make me angry.
Okay, but consider, the room was locked from the inside. Who else could have done it?
I was locked in a wardrobe.
Yes, but the entire cabin was locked from the inside. No one comes in, no one gets out.
Even so, like, just the whole vibe of, I'm not Russian. You Russian revolutionary! I don't even know Russian. I don't know the language. My friend is not Russian. And now you've got some dumb fangirl who's like, oh yeah, I grew up, like, practically in love with this Japanese cohort, but he's actually Russian? I never would have known. That's because he's not fucking Russian! Also, for the curious, the number one way to get under my skin, my biggest pet peeve, even more than this, is chewing with your mouth open. I shouldn't be able to hear you chewing. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
Okay. I've had people get, like, supremely pissed off at me, because I'm like, please close your mouth when you chew.
To be fair, chewing with your mouth open is kind of gross.
It is! It is! I'm glad somebody agrees with me on this. Anyways, sorry, I got on a tangent.
It's okay.
I needed to lance that boil, okay? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part?
Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night, the young Russian was murdered.
Since when was Cosma a Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Cosma-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik.
No, no, no. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. I'm Japanese, damn it!
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Ugh, please.
And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it, anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction.
Oh, thanks.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby.
The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record.
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? Suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it.
Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article.
You told me to! Ah!
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember?
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves.
The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? Does seem to be the Russian thing to do. Not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. It's all written in Russian. couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Before we started talking, you were examining Cosma's desk, weren't you?
Kazuma? Ah yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text.
London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people.
Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading.
You mean you've read it already?
It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese.
Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. It is.
Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim, it would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray, be precise as to details.
Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese.
A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, banzai, mikado. Nado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Appropriate reaction. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none.
So, what was all that showing off about before, then? You would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madam.
The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound?
These are very deep waters. Pray, go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin.
Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record.
So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
Do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough.
Do you think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? Why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer.
Oh, these.
After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No?
There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place.
Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago.
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really.
So, what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now.
What do you mean?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate.
Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. Sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Hmm? We must go and investigate.
Oh, there we go.
We must. We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can. And I'm upside down again.
Hooray!
After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? We do. And I think we're going to do that next episode. Because I think we're going to split this up and not have 2-hour-long episodes. You know, because then that way it'll be a little bit more palatable. And that felt like a good spot to take a pause anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit of a natural stopping point.
Yeah.
Something big kind of happened-ish.
And suddenly I went from
met a clown in a hat.
And suddenly I went from, oh, you totally did it, to maybe you didn't actually do it. Okay, okay. This poor
All I
kid.
did was call you a suspect.
This poor kid. People die and then he gets blamed for it. Like, damn. He lives a hard life. So when we come back, we will come back and go follow a clown in a hat and see if we can find more proof that I'm innocent. Because things do not look good for poor Ryunosuke. Anyways, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. You know the deal. You watch YouTube videos. You've heard it a million gazillion babillion fafillion times. And now you've heard it a million bazillion gajillion fafillion plus 1 times. Anyways, we'll see you next game.